All right, we'll be getting Delial versus Akiyama in a moment. This is weekly open number something, round two. I'll have the number for you in the title. Yeah, that's where it'll be. I don't have to find it now. Great, good job, mate. Um, Delial versus Akiyama is always a huge match. In round one, Akiyama beat Vid, and Delial beat Midas. Uh, in the finals, they will face someone who knows. And yeah, should be a good game. God, I'm terrible at intros. All right, for my database, round two looks like it's level 9, all rules. Okay, and let's see if they've started. Cleverly reloading the page. There we go. All right, all rules, so we don't have to keep rules in mind. Let's, per usual, my standard thing, check directions. Akiyama's hand looks very down-oriented. It has the 110 up and the 7 up. It has an A and an 8 left, A87. To the right, 977, down, A98. But I'm seeing some issues up. For instance, if you have to take something with the A1, A3, we know there's a 10 facing down. 10s are easy to have combo prep against, right? So I notice Ixion in Dully's hand. So this draws me to something, and I have no idea if this is a good move. Something like A4, 8, 5, and 1. Just saying, like, I can create a challenge for you. If you give me a turn, maybe I'll go in 2 and block it in. And maybe I actually don't have a good way to. Yeah, in fact, my only way that isn't comboed is 9657, which is a card I'd kind of like to hold on to. So maybe I don't, but you could see how that kind of move could create some challenge. I notice you have a card, you are really committed to one card for upward capturing. Should you use that card, it has a number that will face out, that faces the opposite way that I can potentially exploit. Maybe I can play against that. Okay. But there's also the 4977 as a 7 facing out. Often there's combo potential against a 7, meaning the 7 is opposite the highest number. Now here, I don't see combo potential in Dully's hand. Are there any other cards that Akiyama's hand is really reliant on? Well, there is Ozzy. Ozzy has a 10 to the left and a 7 facing out. 7s are comboable. Do we have a combo against that 7? We have no combo potential against that 7. Well, this is a real bummer because I think this is a useful thing to notice is what cards, even if they have some directional strength in each direction, what cards are they committed to? Oh, hey, cards like A1, A3 have a really high number opposite their number we care about. So does 772A, though not quite as high. The most likely numbers to be comboed in general are A's, 7s, and then 8s and 9s. But anytime you see any of those sticking out, we should be thinking, yes, I might have combo potential. But of course, level 9 never lines up how you want it to. And so in this case, you don't. But I'm trying to occasionally say things that are actually useful. I'd like to think I do it constantly, but nice to try to focus on things I haven't said before. And one way to try to find where your good potential corners might be is to notice when they have one specific card that is their key to directional strength, and in that direction, in the opposite of the direction it's strong, it has a number that you have combo play against. Now here, none of that seems to be working out. Okay, we could say also another move that comes to mind here is 9, 6, 5, 7, and 7, noting that KOTOR has the A1, A3. It's the only card that can take from 4, and we have 6A, 5, 5 to recapture. That might be a move. I would also note that Akiyama's only captures an 8 either have a 9 facing out, which Deli can combo with A485, or have a 7 facing out, which Deli can't combo, but if he could, he'd have really good coverage. And maybe something could be set up in the future, though I doubt it. But that could be a move that puts a little pressure on. I think often when you don't have safe corners or something, this can be a way to justify a corner that puts some pressure. And it tends to give you a clear plan, right? It makes your future moves easier. If you start in 7 and they don't interact, your goal is to go in 8, right? Your goal is to build out and force them to have to capture from that difficult direction. Now, I think Deli's hand is really clunky and uncomfortable, and I bet he plays like 6A5 5 and 3 or something like that, which is probably, at least I would play something like that. I would say I have this serious down weakness. I'm going to make the game facing where, all my cards have some play facing it. I'm going to do what I can to organize the game like that. That would be my instinct. All the stuff I've said is not actually how I would play this. But the reason it isn't is because we can't actually line up the combos that well, and our hand is just so directionally clunky. All right, Deli does it in 1 instead. Now you'll notice, in one sense, Deli's move is a little more ambitious than mine, because he puts out a higher facing number, but it is one that's not hard for Akiyama to take. Miang, or Executioner, has that really well covered. Um, but yeah, I think one way to like, as you're kind of leveling up as a player, there's noticing safety, right? And we notice the strong corner, the corner they can't take, or the corner they can only take one way, but we can combo back. That's kind of the level beyond that. Or just the corner they can only take one way, and we have the recapture. But one of the ways to start finding pressuring corners other than that is to look for the kind of combo potential that I've described, where they may be able to take both ways. Everyone can take, the numbers facing out aren't that high, but you have play against what they do. Okay, I was going to start thinking from Akiyama's perspective, but I no longer need to, because he has played. Now, 6A4 6 and 4 is very desirable on many levels. 1, it is safe. 2, Akiyama's capture in 2 does not set up anything in 5. Right? So Deli is not forced to block 5 if Akiyama blocks 2. Can Akiyama play an 8 in a way that sets up a threat in 5? Yes. But he would have to use up KOTOR to do so, and that certainly comes with cost. Another thing is, Deli's 3 remaining cards all generally prefer looking left to right than right, and so the game will make all of them fairly happy. So Ixion 4 looks like the normal move, though I think Akiyama should be in perfectly reasonable shape there. Not sure which move exactly to go for, Miang or 2 or KOTOR 8, but I think at least one and maybe both of them should tie. Where else might Deli have play? Well, this plan's just so clunky that I'd probably just take the safe feeling line. Now maybe this is more dangerous than I think, right? Deli played Metis in a game where Metis played a safe starter, Deli replied with a safe adjacent corner, Metis took safety in the in-between square, and suddenly Deli sets up the L, and humanly Metis is just lost there even if there was a tie. That happened about 50 minutes ago. So, like, these positions can certainly be more dangerous than they look like, but I'm having real trouble believing, yeah, that Deli's in trouble after 4. And Deli does go 4, and plays so fairly quickly. So now Akiyama has a choice between 8. Oh, he can't play KOTOR 8, because 7 was taken, right? That would be ridiculous. So he cannot recapture an 8 while setting up 5. God, I'm a buffoon. So Miang 2 looks like the natural move to make, but yeah, but if you're really reliant on Miang 2 here, this position's quite dangerous. You can play Aussie 8. Aussie 8, my instinct is Deli should go 2. If there's not a serious threat in 5 and you can keep good sweepers for the remaining game, 2 can be a really good square to go in. Like a really standard finish of the game, if you go 2, is they have to block 5. You go 3 recapturing 2, and you have a sweeper. And even if they can dodge in 9, as long as you can take 5, you're good. So Akiyama does go 8. He doesn't go 2. Miang 2 is the other option. And I'm really thinking A4, 8, 5, and 2 might be a really good play here. There's also A4, 8, 5, and 9, which is very desirable, of course, but I don't see a great reaction to Miang and 2 there. Maybe you have it. Maybe your 7, 8, 4, 8 sweeps or something. Ooh, 7848 is a very interesting card because it actually can plus KOTOR if KOTOR lands in 6 now. I don't think that's enough to do much, but it's an interesting card. So that would be 6-4-5-5. I think that's just ties. I think 9 is ties. I think 9 is fairly straightforward ties. There is 5. There's actually no recapture on Ozzy, but you don't have a good card to put in 5 because you get comboed. Is 6 anything? I don't think 6 is anything. No, I think 2 and 9 are the key squares here. Of course, there's some players who find moves in 3, but I have not joined their number. But maybe someday I'll work on it. Understanding why and when to look for 3 and how it works, but it's not in my repertoire. No, I think I play in 2 a much higher rate than most people. I think A4, 8, 5, and 9. But it gives up all threat on Ozzy. Yeah, I just don't trust it. I think like you're kind of probably planning to meet 2 and 3, and that looks like ties to me. There are funny lines where you meet 2 and 6. Or 9, 7, 5, 6 sets up 3, but it doesn't do anything. Okay, so yeah, I think 2, A4, 8, 5, and 2. For instance, if KOTOR 5, you play 9, 6, 5, 7, 3, and that ties it 5, 5, and that card's safe, and 7, 8, 4, 8 has a capture. If they play one of the other cards in 5, then I guess KOTOR is going to hold the tie. Yeah, maybe not that promising. Okay, in that case, maybe 9 is more pressure. I don't know. I think Akiyama has held well, and it looks a little clumsy. Against 2, you really do have to block 5, because A4, 8, 5, and 5 is a huge threat. So if Deli could set up A4, 8, 5 to have another square behind besides 5, and block 2, that would be great. But I don't think he can do both these things. So my instinct is to block 2. Can you block 2 with a card that isn't A4, 8, 5? No, I think the other cards are better sweepers. So I'd play 8, 4, 8, 5, 2, or 9, but I'd feel kind of sad that I didn't get more initiative out of this. But maybe no more initiative was deserved. And taking a hand where you have like 4 4s or 5s facing down and getting some pressure out of it seems nice to me. All right, Deli goes 9, but not with A4, 8, 5. He keeps the threat potential. So that, unlike my move of A4, 8, 5, 9, or my idea there, this stops Miang in 2 because you will counter combo in 5. This is clever. This is clever. I wish I had seen this. Let us all pretend I did when asked. Okay, so I think Akiyama just cannot go 2. I think 2 is killed by 5. So you're down to 3 options. 3, 5, and 6. My instinct is blocking 5 is best. So let's look at that last so that Akiyama will play before we finished analyzing, and then we don't have to figure it all out. Let's look at 6. Let's look at KOTOR in 6. What does Deli do after KOTOR 6? That makes it 6-4. If Deli takes the combo in 5, you combo back in 2 and you win. If Deli plays the other... Oh, Deli has both cards combo in 5. But in fact, both cards you combo back, but the second combo... the second combo doesn't quite flip enough stuff. Let's count that. So you go up 6-4. Deli plays 7-8, 4-8 in 5. That flips everything. And you play 2, and you flip 5, 6, 9, but no further. That's not enough. Okay, so you can't go 6. and take. How about 5? If you go 5 and Deli goes 2, you always have Kotor in 6 and you tie. If you go 4, 9, 7, 7, and 5, say. Deli goes 2, you have Kotor 6 and you tie. They can't set up combos against it, that will flip a card back, you tie. If Deli goes in 6 with A4, 8, 5, you can play Miang in 2 and you capture 2 back and they capture 1 and that's a tie. If Deli goes 6 with 7, 8, 4, 8, then you can play 5, 5, 5, 9, and 3, and Deli only captures 1 back, and you tie. Can Deli go in 3 against 4, 9, 7, 7, 5? He can play 7, 8, 4, 8, and 3. That's kind of sneaky, but the combos don't actually do anything. You can still play Miang 2 and you hold. Yeah, so I think Akiyama is about to play 4, 9, 7, 7, and 5. Man, Deli found a lot more pressure than I did here. Let's start putting in the game. Delial, Akiyama. 6A 551 37887 6A 464 772A 896579. But Akiyama's taking his time here. This is scary looking now. But I think 4, 9, 7, 7, and 5 should tie. It is really scary that Deli has the double setup in 3, but it's not a double setup that does anything. So you should survive the slings and arrows of that. Alright, he does go 5. Nicely held, unless I'm missing something, in which case, very embarrassing for all. But I think just nicely held. And I like Deli's move in 9. I really wish I had seen that. I think that was much more pressure than my ideas in 2 or 9. Alright, Deli asks if Akiyama had 3 here, which I did not consider. And even hearing it, I'm not sure which card. I'm gonna say I thought this was the tie. I'm not sure if Deli was saying 3 tied or 3 was a winning chance. Deli says no, this doesn't tie, but this is a tie. Isn't it? Oh, 5, 5, 5, 9 does combo 3. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I missed that it had the plus. Man, this really lined up Deli's cards right. Alright, well played by Deli. Terribly seen by me. Man, great game by Deli. In the sense of like, I missed everything, and he saw all the things I missed. Therefore, shout out to him, kind of way. I'm not sure if like random onlooker would look at this game and think, yeah, this was a spectacular game. But to me, this was like every time I had an instinct here, Deli played a better version, and I think that's really cool and well done to him. And so Deli thinks Akiyama might have had a tie in 3. I guess we should check. Like I thought this was a tie, but I completely missed the extra flip. So let's start putting in cards so I can check. But yeah, totally screwed up this one. Very nice wins by Deli today. He is in good form. He is in good form. All right, I think I put in all the cards. Let's close that and slowly find where the solver is. All right, rules. Got to get the rules right. Yeah, because I have it set for SPC from last round. SW, PW, cool. blue hand, red hand. Let's put in the red hand. Sorry for this being boring. I didn't finish typing in the blue hand. Yeah, I really thought this was the tie because I cannot do basic math apparently, which is cool. I think it's probably for the best I didn't really play Kefka. I don't think my form is that good. All right, so Deli goes in 1, and Akiyama quick plays 7, and Deli goes in 4. And after 4, there are 2 moves that tie. Miang in 2, and Ozzy in 8. Right, the 2 moves that like plausibly could tie. Deli goes in 9, the highest pressure available. There's 3 ties? Wow, this is embarrassing for all of us. So Miang in 5 apparently was a tie. That's wild. You have to see. I should flip you over. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not that wild if you can calculate, but I cannot calculate, so we're all good. Because you walk Miang 5 here. You walk into this, but you have this in response anytime you need it. You actually just hold here? That's remarkable. Okay, what are the other 3 ties? You can also play Miang 6, which is, you know, not a move us people consider. But I guess the point is something like this holds. You want to give a different line, computer? It gives a different line, but okay. And finally, this in 5 also holds. No, this doesn't hold. Yeah, it doesn't look like it holds. What's the other hold? Yeah, Deli was right. You can go in 3. And 3 holds. But this looked like it held to me. And it's the natural move to consider because there's no combo potential. So if it holds, you're good. And I thought, okay, Deli does have 3, but you go here, you flip 1. You don't flip 3, so you're good. But tragically, you do flip 3, so you lose. So yeah, a couple ties here. This, I think, is hard. This, I think, is hard. And this one's scary, but you should get to there just by calculating everything. But I thought I had found a tie. This is an easy way to cut off calculations, but there's basically no way to solve it, right? If you think you have found a tie and you know for sure there are no wins and there definitely weren't wins here, you should just play that tie. So, like, based on what I calculated, I should play this tie. The weakness is not decision making or anything like that. It's simply not recognizing there's a plus, right? But you have to trust your calculations and make moves based on it. So if you do think this ties, you should play it. So I don't really blame Akiyama in that sense for playing a loss when ties were available. The mistake, and it's the same mistake I made, and I suspect we both saw this move, the mistake is not realizing that there's a plus. And that's actually tough. I think despite there being 3 ties here, this was a very easy position for a good player to lose. Because of the moves that tie, I think 4, 9, 7, 7, and 5 is the first you check. And if you miscalculate it, then you lose the game. And it's a weird thing to calculate. It's a weird plus. It's a weird plus to spot. Very, very foolish. And Deli immediately knew what I had missed, right? He immediately said, no, Miang flips 3, right? And that is what I had missed. So nice calculation by Deli, poor calculations by myself and Akiyama. And man, Deli's on a tear today. Just took out 2 players in a single game without very good hands. You know, this hand was very clunky going down, and he just never had any troubles. Just clean win. Nicely done.